Hello and welcome to the first upload from this incredible Legoland Park in California. Now, we've got lots to look at, but we're going to actually start with the Explorer section before we get into the Lego Movie World. This actual path takes you directly to the section of the park which is in the title, but because it's so much bits and pieces under construction and being demolished, I thought this just needs to be added in as a bit of bonus, and this just takes you directly into that section of the parks, which is easy to do it together. So you can see everything that is behind those barriers is currently being taken apart. Now, there is a huge area that is being taken apart for something that I do believe is going to be very, very exciting and new. But you can see it is all dino themed within this area. You've got the nice little egg with some little bits and pieces on the bottom. That is the coaster that does go around twice, but here we go. So this area is under construction. Now, I do believe this one was the safari ride, where it was obviously a big ride that you sit on, which we've already seen in Billund, and they used to have one in Windsor, but I don't know what animals were included. I don't know if it was just dinosaurs or if they had all the zebras and the big giraffes and things like they got in Billund. But you can see that ride is absolutely massive on the right-hand side. Now, on the left-hand side, it is a ride that they still have at Legoland Windsor, which is the Fairy Tale Brook ride. Now, I do believe this ride is actually one of the last of the original rides that they had in the park, which they are now closing down. But with both of these rides side by side, it is going to be very, very interesting to see what they put here under what theming, because the area that they both take up is absolutely massive. Now, talking of massive areas, what we're about to have a look at is obviously what you're here for, is the Lego Movie World. Now, the difference between this and Billund is huge. The layout is completely different. It has different bits and pieces in here. It has different models. And the first thing you see, there's a big shop just directly behind it, which they don't have in Billund. The only thing that is basically exactly the same is this entranceway as you come through. And you can see it has master builders at work, and it has got the same sort of models at the bottom where they're talking to you, and you can sort of have your photo opportunity just there. So that is a nice thing. But with regards to how the layout is in California, you can just do it in one big loop, and then you do have a couple of cut paths where you can kind of come back on yourself. So with this, it technically does have 2 ways in and 2 ways out, but from here you just go into the next section of the park. So if you come in through the main gates and turn left like I have, that's the way you go. Or you basically see this last if you come into the park and turn right. But the first thing you will then see is Ninjago. Now, within this store, they have absolutely everything that you can imagine, but obviously they are also showing off a lot of Lego Dreams sets, because they don't actually sell the Lego Movie stuff anymore. That has all been discontinued, so they have got different window displays. But as you can see, they do have the big plastic mold sort of models that they have in Billund, and they've also got this, which is the Cool Benny. I do like this with the paintbrush. I think that's a very, very smart looking builder. It's the first time I've ever seen him in anywhere. And you can see you've also got the other Dreams and obviously the sleeping logo. I do like this mosaic piece as well. So there's lots of different bits and pieces that they've got here. Some of this stuff I've never ever seen before, and the layout of this park, like I said, is completely different to any of the parks that I've been to around the world, and this is completely different to Legoland Billund with regards to the theming and the size. So when we get into it in a second, you'll see exactly what I mean. You've got a wonky-eyed banana, whatever that's to do with, going up in a big air balloon. I have no reference to what that is whatsoever. But the side of the shop is a half decent size. Now, with regards to all of the other videos, the amount of pab walls that they have dotted absolutely everywhere is incredible. And the amount of walk-through Lego brick-built attractions is just nuts. So you have a huge amount of different types of videos to come within the Legoland California playlist. So I'm going to get these uploaded one after the other if I can. So keep your eyes peeled for this. So if you are watching this first, I'm basically going to upload them in order of how you walk around the park. But then obviously there will be a massive uncut version where it has absolutely everything in, which will be a very, very long video, I would imagine. But you can see they've still got all of the Lego Movie World artwork, but they just seem to be using all of the Lego Dreams sets, because like I said, they have absolutely no merchandise to sell from the Lego Movie anymore, because that has been gone a long, long time. So potentially, if, as and when they do make a Lego Movie 3, if they ever get around to doing it, because obviously it's not Lego themselves that do it, that's all down to the studios and the different people, and then they obviously just use the license of the Lego name. Then they might start selling the sets for the third one in here. But again, you've got friends, and then you've got some other little bits and pieces as well. So you've got I think we just saw some 3-in-1s there. You've got the bouquets and all the other little bits and pieces. I say this every single time when they're all grouped together, and they've added a little parrot in there. Now that is something else, actually. There's something else we want to quickly talk about. The display cabinets are the best I've ever seen, because what they do is they mix and match all of the different sets, and then they say what is on display and the price of each set. So that is the first time, for example, I'd seen all of those flowers with the 2 different birds that you buy from 2 different sets. They had displays like that dotted absolutely everywhere. I clocked onto it very, very quickly. I spent a lot of time just looking at all of the displays that he'd built up, because they did look very, very eye-catching. Now, interestingly, you could see that they got a lot of the minifigures for sale with regards to the Disneys and all the others, but they did not have any of the new Lego Marvel waves in the box, because apparently they're not allowed to sell them there. So that is something for a different discussion in a live stream, but you could not get the new Lego Marvel at this time. But I would imagine by the time you're watching this, we'll be on the next series, and they are obviously under the Lego license, so then you'll be able to get them nice and easy. And I do believe the new wave for 2024 are also going to be in boxes. So you can see you've got the entertainment going on the outside with loads of dancing. Music was super, super loud. And then you have got a big brick-built Emmett, which did look super, super happy. He did look nice. And then on the other side, I think that's the villain from the Lego Movie 2. I watched half of it and turned it off. It wasn't my kind of thing. The first one I thought was amazing. The second one, not so much. But you do have the Duplo Invasion models. I think there's some slightly different ones here compared to the park in Billings. You can see what that's all about. And then you've got this massive water bit on here. Now, there's literally no little ones around, so it was perfect to get the camera out and film, because it was term time. So actually, this is probably one of the first ever times I've walked around a Legoland park and there was lots and lots of AFOLs walking around, and just older kids as well. So there was just partners walking around, and older groups of friends at an older age demographic than I have ever seen before, which I found very, very interesting. Now, don't forget, this is right at the very, very start of the day, so you can either only go left or only go right. This is actually the busiest volume of people I think we see. When we get to the Miniland video, I'm the only person walking around the Miniland, and that is massive as well. Now, they've got loads and loads of build areas, so all dotted around all around the theme park. There's loads of different places you can get out the sun, sit down and just build different bits and pieces. So this is just one of them under the Lego Movie banner, and you can see that I was looking at all of the cool things up top. And they also have loads of minifigures dotted around, and I do believe they were doing a minifigure swap. So they have started to do that again, so the staff are wearing minifigures, and you can just swap and change your minifigure, and you're trying to hunt down a specific type. Everybody was asking for a Mr. Gold, so I'm not too sure if there was a Mr. Gold on site. I've never seen one in person, but obviously there's only a limited amount of them. I know 1 or 2 people that have picked them up, and those things are worth an absolute fortune. Now, you have got Benny's Rocket, so that is the big slide and play area that all of the bigger ones were playing on rather than the smaller ones, and the adults as well. They're having a good bit of fun on that. Now, the one difference here is the carousel. So this was full of teeny tiny ones, hence why you don't get any footage of that whatsoever. But all of the other photo opportunities were easy enough to get. So you can see you can just sit down and take a photo. And yes, you do have the big 4D cinema in the background. And again, they have got the Unikitty Disco Drop, which is exactly the same as the one in Billund, and it's also the same as Windsor, but Windsor is themed for Mythica, which is the fire and ice tower drop instead. So again, with regards to the space, the whole theme parks like this is massively spaced out, loads and loads of width dotted everywhere, really, really colourful floors, and it's just really nice and vibrant. And you can see with regards to the queue and everything that we're about to have a look at, there's a huge difference between this queue and the queue that they have at the one in Windsor, because they have this ride in Windsor, but again, it's just themed differently. So the queue in Windsor is inside, the one in Billund's inside. This one, it just wraps around the outside. It's lucky dip if you're in the shade or the sun, and then you've got a building area in the middle, and then from there, you can then just crack on and then just basically jump straight onto the ride. So it's simple enough, so it's easy enough, and then it's a short enough queue. So that was easy enough, box ticked. And you can see all of the wait times. They've got loads and loads of really handy screens dotted around this park as well. And I do believe 2024 is the 25th anniversary of this park, so I do believe they're going to have lots and lots of different celebrations. I'm sure it's the 25th and not the 20th, but correct me if I'm wrong. I will need to double check that, but I'm sure that's what I've read and what the members of staff were telling me, because again, the members of staff just wanted to talk to you. So I ended up speaking to somebody for a good sort of 30-40 minutes at the end of the day. She was a elderly lady who's lovely, who said that her dream is to get around all of the other Legoland parks, and she was telling me that she is looking to go to Japan next year, and because she's heard some very, very good things. I also spoke to one of the entertainers and dancers that were on site, and they said they want to go over and see some of the stuff in Japan as well, because apparently they have some amazing live acts. So Japan seems to be a popular place for the people in California, so you know where I'm looking at going next. Now, with regards to this, does this look like it rings a bell? I'm currently looking at the set myself. I think it's based right on the Apocalypseburg set because it has all the theming and the minifigures on the inside, and it is the big calf, which I am looking at right now. It is the big coffee and chain shop. So it's from the massive Statue of Liberty Lego set, which does look very, very good indeed. And this was just packed full of models. Obviously, the doors were open. They weren't serving anybody yet because it had literally just opened up. So there was times on the doors when you can actually then place your order and things like that. And then there's a little bit of the pricing on the side. And then there's some more big models. Now, don't forget, because obviously these are Duplo based, they can have these massive, but just like the ones in Billund, they don't have that many brick built bits and pieces within regards to the Lego movie, but they have them everywhere else, and there are tons and tons of them. So I think this is by far the most brick built heavy theme park I've seen so far, and that also includes Billund, which I was very, very surprised about indeed. Now you can see you've got the three-wheeled tricycle, and then above that, you've got Where's My Pants Guys. So they've got the same kind of artwork dotted around the outside like they do in Billund, and it's just a nice big loop. Now, the cool thing about these benches is that some of them said what they were recycled of. So you can see on the right-hand side, the actual logo had fallen off on that one, but on some of the others, it would say it'd been recycled or made from, say, 300 Coke bottles or whatever, something like that. So all of those were all reused benches for environmentally friendly. Now, at this time, look, you can see the carousel just to the right-hand side. You can see the horses where there's nobody sat on that little bit. And then from here, another little bit of bonus footage, because whereas Legoland Windsor has a huge Heart Lake City, this is all they have. So they have the new characters, which is the first time I've ever seen all of these put together. No idea what this used to be. I don't know if this is where potentially they used to do maybe a live show or a live act, because it kind of has that feel where you would sit on those. It's very, very similar to what they've got at Windsor. But then just behind me, they've just added in some computers instead, and people seem to be happy enough with that. But what I didn't realise is apparently they do not show the Lego TV show over in Canada or America, but we obviously get it all the time over in the UK, and it's a very, very popular thing with all the little ones over here. Nor do they get the magazines either, so I guess the marketing is much, much harder. So guys, we are just about to leave the Lego Movie World section to head on to the next bit, which will obviously be the next video. So that means that is it, and I am done. So if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Comment below what you think. Have you been to this park, and how does it compare to your local park? But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll see you next one. Ta-da.